Game 1, Lakers and Warriors. I think it's safe to say that it paid off. Now, it depends on who you're rooting for, I guess. But either way, man, that game, once it hit, I can't even remember the point in the game. Some point in the game in the 60s, I think, when it was tied. Yeah. And I just thought, God, this has been awesome. I can't wait to see how it finishes. 117-112, Lakers win the game. Where do you start to explain this game to someone if they didn't watch it?
Well, if I was a Warriors fan, I want a trip. I really want it. You knew coming off of that Kings series, you were going to come into this series a little tired because that series was emotionally draining and physically draining, from Draymond stomping on folks to Looney having to out-rebound Sabonis to Steph Curry having to drop 50 just for them to advance to the second round. That's a lot for a team that has a lot of miles on them. People forget this team's been to the finals a lot, and they've been 6 times and won it 4. They got a lot of miles. Ask Clay about his ACL and Achilles injury, about, being injured and just the miles that they put on. So coming into this series, the Lakers had to win this one. They had to, and they got the job done. They almost blew it. It was 112-98, and the Warriors went on a 14-0 run at the end of that fourth quarter to make things really interesting. And Jordan Poole, he's getting a lot of heat today. I don't think he should be getting that. I don't think he deserves that one bit. You got to take that shot. If anything, Steve Kerr, he deserves to take that heat. You have 2 timeouts. Once you see Steph Curry get double teamed with about, 12 seconds to go, you call that timeout.
So that's a situation where they did have a timeout they could have taken.
Yeah, they had 2.
Instead of that other one earlier in the playoffs.
Yeah, they had 2. Use it. You see Steph Curry getting doubled, use the timeout. Of course, Steph Curry's going to make the right play. He didn't want to. Right. He held the ball for a while at half court. He was waiting. He was like, come on. He was like, Coach, call a timeout. Okay, you're not. I got to give it to Draymond. Draymond swung at the Jordan Poole. It was a deep 3. But look at Jordan Poole's stats. Look at his numbers.
That's what I was just about to say,
He was knocking them down. He shot better than Steph and Clay yesterday. 7 for 15, 6 for 11 from the three-point line. So him having a wide open 3 in that moment, I want that.
Like, that's his John Paxson moment.
Yeah.
That's his Steve Kerr moment.
That's his Steve Kerr moment. And Steve Kerr let it roll. Steve Kerr, what is he going to say?
Right.
He was that guy.
Right.
Mike would only have 5 if it wasn't for Steve Kerr in 97.
He's giving you 21 off the bench. He's having a good night. You mentioned him yesterday that he had to be good. I hear the guys in the pregame last night tell he's got to be good tonight. He's got to give them a really good game. He had, obviously, he was out there at Steph range. If Steph takes that shot, we're all just yawning. Even if Clay took it from out there, we'd be saying, yeah, that's that. But they couldn't get it off. That was a nice defensive choice there by the Lakers.
We're such a prisoner of the moment because you have the greatest shooter of all time on the court. He just dropped 50. And why wouldn't he shoot the shot to tie the game for a 3? Why wouldn't he? It doesn't make sense if you look at it from that way. But again, if you didn't watch the game last night, it won't make sense. It makes sense if you watched it. He was open. Jordan Poole was open. You got to knock that down. He missed it. Steve Kerr could have called a timeout. He let it roll. They still got a great shot.
Yeah. So give me your thoughts on, we went in yesterday talking about the Davis-Looney matchup. And my theory going into this series is already wrong. I did not think Looney was going to have another game where he went 20 or more boards because of Anthony Davis. They each had 23 rebounds in the game last night. What did you make of Davis, Looney, and how each side dealt with it?
Yeah, Looney has a hard time just stopping Anthony Davis in general, and that's a problem. The rebounds, they weren't as meaningful because beforehand, you had Sabonis on the outside, and when Looney would get the boards, everybody would come crashing in, leaving those shooters on the outside. The Lakers, once Looney got the rebound, they just stayed. They didn't budge. They just stayed on the outside and stuck to Steph, stuck to Clay, stuck to Jordan Poole, where the Sacramento Kings, they would all collapse just to help because that's a natural basketball reaction.
And they don't have as much size. And they kind of naturally know that.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you got LeBron James out there, one of the best IQs to ever play.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Is he good?
He's pretty good. So he's going to make sure you're in the right spot and make sure everybody's locked in. So those offensive rebounds that Looney had, they weren't as impactful as we saw in the previous series against the Sacramento Kings. Now, I will tell you, again, if you're the Warriors, you're in a good spot because Steph and Clay, those were open jumpers. They just missed them. And you got to think the legs coming from the series. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be tough. And I told you in prep, Chad, something that Steve Kerr might have to go to that might be one of the most oxymoron things you could ever say in the history of basketball. But in order for the Warriors to win, he might have to do this. You might have to let LeBron James try to take over.
Oh, wow.
You might have to let the all-time leading scorer have to beat you in 3 games because he does not want to do that. And again, he didn't play well last night. He only had 22 points on 24 shots. Yeah. That's not very good. Yep. His 3-point percentage in the last 7 games from the first series is atrocious.
Yeah,
it's
1
terrible.
for 8 last night.
He's horrible from 3. So Draymond on that comeback, that 14-point run, Draymond was kind of sitting back and was like, shoot it. You're not making shots.
Right.
Shoot the ball.
Backing off.
Come
on.
So I'm going into these next games. And again, LeBron, he's so smart. And the Lakers, Rob Pelinka in that front office, they did such a good job of making those midseason trades. Getting Rui Hachimura, which won them game 1 against the Grizzlies series, getting D'Angelo Russell, who got 31 points in game 6. They have multiple guys to where LeBron doesn't have to take that responsibility of having the ball in his hands all the time. But it's a gift and a curse. The gift is you got LeBron sitting back, conserving his energy, chilling, and then he'll pick and choose when to attack and be aggressive. The con is, since he doesn't have the ball in his hands much, he doesn't have a rhythm. So he can't, those shots that you see, he's not in a rhythm because the ball's not in his hands. Back in the day, the ball was always in his hands, so it's easier to get a rhythm. Him playing off the ball, it's a little bit more difficult, especially at age 38. So Austin Reeves, he still has to be big. D'Angelo Russell, he had a solid game last night.
He was nice.
Dennis Schroeder was great last night, making Steph and Jordan Poole work on the defensive end, and then guarding Steph full court. Vanderbilt was good. You got to let him shoot too. You got to live with that. Yeah. All those shots, he didn't make many shots yesterday. He hit a big 3 in the 4th quarter. But if you're Steve Kerr, hey, every time you're open, shoot it. We'll live. That's a will live moment. Right. And you might have to say the same thing about LeBron James just to help Kevon Looney with Anthony Davis.
So here's what I'm trying to figure out for Golden State, because it's an interesting point you're making about, do they really need to be concerned here? Can Golden State afford to do a version of what they did last night and keep it going? They may need to adjust a little bit with Davis or LeBron. So here's the way the points broke down last night. In terms of 3-pointers, Golden State's advantage got them plus 30 more points because they ended up with, plus 45. They made 15 more threes than the Lakers did. So they're plus 45. But when it comes to the 2-pointers, they ended up minus 30. That gets them to plus 15. Then they were minus 20 on free throws.
Yeah, that's the game right there.
And that ends up in your 5-point margin. Obviously, no big shock here. Those are the only kinds of shots in basketball: 2s, 3s, and free throws. Thanks, Chad. You're welcome. Okay, so that's how it broke down last night, Zay.
James Naismith is clapping in his grave right now.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Naismith. So you just pointed out Russell and Schroeder. They each had 19, 38 between them. We know what Anthony Davis did. If you're Steve Kerr, I heard ideas of maybe what you're talking about. Do you let LeBron take over? Do you double more on Anthony Davis? Do you let him go crazy, and if he can get 40, just shut everybody else down? Do you double Anthony and then make somebody else beat you? Whatever. Go zone. I heard that. All these things. But could the answer just be dare the Lakers to do that 3 more times?
Yeah.
That's what I kept thinking today. Like, the Warriors did not have the exact game they would want to have, but can they really play that game of our 3-pointers are going to beat your 2s and free throws at some point? And you have to believe that and lean into it and go. Can the Warriors actually win the series that way?
Well, they got to attack Anthony Davis. They seemed a little fearful again in that paint. Every time somebody went into the paint, Anthony Davis was there, and they kicked the ball out. They got to attack them so they could get to the line and conserve some energy and knock free throws down, and then the outside shots will come. Do I think they could live with playing the way they did last night? Yeah, I do. But I still think you gotta double team Anthony Davis way more. Way more. Like leaving Looney on the island. That's a key to this for disaster.
And he's destroying them in the mid-range.
Oh, yeah. He's knocking that jumper down. He's hitting that floater. He can't guard him like you did Sabonis.
Yeah, you nailed it yesterday, and we talked about that, about the matchup. You said that exact thing, because if he leaves him alone, Davis is going to kill him, and he did.
Yeah. I mean, you got to live with D'Angelo Russell. In the playoffs, you just got to live with some stuff because everybody's good at this point. So you got to go Bill Belichick, take away their greatest asset, and say, you know what? You other guys beat us. And if you could beat us, then salute to you.
And then what you're saying, back to the LeBron point, if you double on Davis, even if the guy he gets it to is LeBron, what you're saying is that's still LeBron off the ball. That's still LeBron not bringing the ball up the floor and controlling things like he used to.
Yeah.
And he's not as comfortable doing it.
He's not in the rhythm right now.
Right. He hasn't found the rhythm yet.
He just can't. He hasn't found the rhythm. A big part of his game throughout his career is having the ball in his hands. The more the ball's in your hands, the easier it is to get a rhythm. Since it's not, he's playing off the ball. He has to wait for people to create for him. And then all of a sudden, the shot clock's going down. They give him the ball, and he has to hoist a 3 up. Yeah. And that's just not good basketball. So, yeah, if I'm going into this next game, I'll put Draymond on him at times and just play off him and see what happens.
The other thing we're watching, I think,
and that's a dangerous game, Chad.
That is dangerous.
That's a dangerous game. That's what I'm saying. Right. One of the biggest oxymorons you could probably do is tell the all-time leading scorer, hey, try to score on us.
Because it is LeBron.
We don't believe in you.
Like LeBron still got like 40, 10, and 12 in him at the drop of a hat if you do it the wrong way. You're right. But like, could last night just have been the difference between finishing off Memphis and allowing Sacramento to push you to 7?
Yes.
Because Steph, Clay, I mean, everybody kind of looked gassed to me with Golden State. They were tired. The energy level was down, and the Lakers felt a little more pepped up. Somebody else points out on the text line, Zay, Vanderbilt is going to have to guard Steph for at least 3 more games. He did a great job last night. That's 1 game. Defenders have gotten worn down guarding Steph.
Yep, that's what he does. That's exactly what he does.
Now, in Vanderbilt's case, he doesn't have to give them much on the other end, though.
No.
He's not going to focus on offense, so he can really focus on, I got to stop Steph.
And that's where Steve Kerr, whoever's guarding Vanderbilt, we're helping on Anthony Davis. We're helping on LeBron when he drives. Austin Reeves when he comes off certain pick and rolls. Dennis Schroeder, D'Angelo Russell. And we're making guys like Vanderbilt shoot that shot. We're making LeBron with his percentage right now shoot that 3. Yep. And if they do it, then we'll adjust to that. But you got to stop Anthony Davis if you're the Warriors. And, yeah, man, Jordan Poole, I'd take that shot. I'd ask him to shoot that next game, too. If he had that same opportunity, same situation, shoot that same shot.
Isn't it wild that we're in a series, again, with Steph and LeBron, and after game 1, it's Steph that people – not that they're the question, but it's Steph that passed at the end of the game to let somebody else take the shot. That's normally the criticism LeBron gets.
Yeah.
Right? But he had to. He got pinned into that situation. I hadn't even thought of the timeout aspect of that.
He had to.
Where is Steve Kerr on that one? Because – asking Steph to do it is one thing, but somebody, it's the coach, or other players can't do it. You got to have the ball, right?
I mean,
it's Kerr or Curry there. It's got to call that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, when you get double teamed and make the right play like Steph did, now you're in the 4-on-3 situation. So they had the advantage.
And it was an open shot.
And they got an open shot from a guy that shot the ball over 50% yesterday from 3-point line.
And you know what? Everybody backed it up. I like that about the post-game presser. Even though you lose, Kerr, to a man, Kerr didn't say I should have taken a timeout. Steph didn't say I should have taken a timeout. Draymond, everybody said, no, we'll take that shot.
Yeah.
He was having a good night. He had an open look. We made a basketball play. He missed a basketball shot, and we'll let him take it again if he gets it.